Hello, this is Mavichu. Let's have a general discussion or conversation about God. Someone said, yeah, that's a broad topic. Yes, it is. I'm just going to touch on some of them. This is not prepared. It's just an open, unprepared conversation. So, have you given yourself time to think about God? Do you have an opinion about God? Your own opinion. Because most people growing up just carry over what they were taught as children into adulthood. Have you given yourself time to think about God and form an opinion about God? If someone grew up in a community that didn't believe in God and believed in sciences, for example, they would grow up believing that as well. They'll adopt that dogma and that belief. If a person is a Muslim or Christian also and grew up in such a community, most likely they just carry that over when they go into adulthood. Have you carried over, or did you give yourself enough time to form your own opinion? What do you believe about God? Have you thought about what you believe and whether you really believe in it, or you've just carried it over? Let's take a scenario. Let's take a typical scenario of a person who doesn't believe in God and person B who believes in God. So we have person A who doesn't believe and person B who believes. Now, when the person who doesn't believe in God passes away from this life, dies, they might find themselves, if God exists, they'll find themselves in a very awkward situation. They'll find themselves unprepared. It'll put them in an awkward situation. It'll be weird for them if God exists. If God doesn't exist, nothing will happen. It'll just be as they expected. Now, let's take these two scenarios to the guy who believes that there is a God and prepares accordingly, according to the knowledge that he knows. If there is no God and the person believed in God, it'll just be a disappointment. But if there is a God, there might be a reward to that person if the person lived with the consciousness that there is a God and did things according to how they believed that God wants things to be done. Some principles just work whether you believe in God or not. They are just there in life. They are just there. And it's important to learn these principles Before going to faith and many things, you must learn these life principles. There's no need to worship money, but we need money or any form of money. Money is just a way to explain something that we use to trade to get the necessities that we require to live. So one needs to find a way to acquire that form of money. And after acquiring it, then we can ask bigger questions like, why are we here? Have you asked yourself this question? Why are you here on earth? If this question is not important to you, then it's okay. It's not a problem. Remember, we have this thing that I think is one of the greatest things that we're given. We're given choice. You can choose not to live according to any purpose. That's your choice. But should you choose to live according to a purpose, then you must define it. Define it, then refine it. After it's refined, then you can follow it well. You can follow it well. And this will actually make you consistent because you'll have one goal that you're living and chasing. You're living after this one, you're chasing it. And then you'll have sub-goals to reach that particular purpose. You think if we have this concept of purpose and it drives many things. So a person opens a company with a purpose. Someone invents something with a purpose. So you think God should have a purpose for creating human beings. And I don't know about you, but I wouldn't create something that doesn't make me happy. Imagine, for example, I wouldn't invent a hand that just claps me each and every morning. No. I don't think that's a good plan because you live in sadness. So one purpose that you might consider of why God created human beings is to make him happy. Is to make him happy. That's one avenue to consider. So another thing would be whether God is involved in creation or not. In other words, if you pray, can he answer? Is it legal for him to answer? Or did he create creation and leave it to be self-sustaining, which to a certain extent it is? This needs empirical evidence. Empirical in a sense that you have to try it. By practical means, you have to try it. So that's one challenge for believers. Try what you believe. Try what you believe and see if it works. So that's a challenge. Consider God. Consider God. But while considering God, make sure that you can live and live comfortably. Because it's hard to meditate on an empty stomach. Consider God. Think about God. Think about God's purpose for you. If someone created something, they should maintain it, as we see human beings doing. If a person has a child, they maintain the child, make sure the child is well taken care of, because a child has limited knowledge, just like us here on earth. So if a child comes to a parent and says, I need help, the parent will likely help. So these are some of the thoughts you can entertain yourself with. That's it for now. Consider God and just think about it and form your own opinion of God. A solid one. Reinforce what you believe. Reinforce what you believe. Make sure you believe strongly. Don't be vague. Okay. We'll have other discussions some other time. This is Marvin Tobejani.